Hello my friends, and welcome back to the rabbit hole. Oh, we've got a lot to talk about today. Apologies in advance if I look a little sweaty. I actually just finished a workout. 10 out of 10. Recommend do it from your own house right now. It'll make you feel so much better. We've got a lot to talk about in today's video, and if the world was not what it is right now, what I would start this video off by saying is the Sephora VIB sale has been announced. It will be running April 17th through May 1st. The same discounts, the same structure. Rouge will be getting 20% off, VIB 15% off, Beauty Insider 10% off. But we all know the world is quite different. It is incredibly hard for me to just sit down and chat about sales like nothing is going on. So I want to talk about the controversy with Sephora. We'll talk a little bit about Ulta, because rumor has it there's been a boycott against Sephora. Some amount of people were upset with Ulta. I don't know how to drink water. Okay, so I guess we'll backtrack to the first week of March, because that's when I really remember things starting to change in the world. The first week of March was actually the last time that I ever stepped foot in a Sephora or Ulta. I ended up going to Sephora to redeem my perfume certificate, and it was very different. I believe this was March 4th. Actually, pretty sure I'm right on that. And yeah, it was completely different. There were there's hand sanitizer everywhere. The employees were really hovering over you, which I completely understand. And it was empty. It was completely empty. And I think, to be honest with you, for as much as we humans are kind of victims of something called consistency bias, where we tend to think that whatever present beliefs or attitudes we have are the same ones we had in the past. I say this because I've heard it so many times that people are like, well, why weren't we making these changes in February? Because you didn't know, you didn't understand. So, this last time I was in Sephora, it was really quite sobering of an experience for me. I think that's when I really knew, oh, things are about to change. And then a matter of days later, Sephora closed their doors, and they've remained closed ever since. But they did do some good things early on. Early on, they said that they were going to keep all of their employees on payroll and continue to pay them. They also gave us free shipping, which is incredible. Free shipping, no minimum, that hasn't stopped yet. And that's in contrast to Ulta. If you look at the way that Ulta handled this, Ulta had their 21 days of beauty sale going on, which is a twice-a-year event as big as the VIB sale for those who follow Ulta. And they resisted closing their stores. I remember seeing some posts from Ulta employees saying we're starting to get worried for our own safety. Why is Ulta resisting this? But it made sense to me why Ulta was resisting this. They had planned out this giant sale at the absolute worst timing. And if you don't know this about Ulta, I was digging into Ulta's numbers, their percentages of sales, and it turns out that they do roughly 80 to 90% of their sales in store, and the rest are online. That's only 10 to 20% of Ulta's sales come through the Ulta website. So I think it does make sense that Ulta had a little more trouble closing their doors. They did anyway. That meant that their sale for the last couple of weeks was absolutely awful. I don't know how many of you guys tried to buy in the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, but products were selling out by 1 in the morning. So because of all of these circumstances, I saw quite a few people saying, well, I'd rather support Sephora, who has, promised to pay their employees, who's doing this shipping, as opposed to Ulta, who just is in it for the profits, and I understand that perspective at that time. But then Sephora did an action that I don't think any of us saw coming. I certainly didn't. And this is all obviously going to be me trying to retell this story as somebody who does not work for Sephora, but from what I understand, Sephora put all of their part-time employees in a conference call. They told them to silence their cell phones, and then they delivered the news, which was the part-time employees, or at least most of them, were being let go. I read a thread about this, and it really was heartbreaking to read. Some Sephora employees were saying that you could hear girls crying. You know, they were supposed to have silenced their phones, but you could hear crying. You could sense how upset everybody was that Sephora had said a couple of weeks prior that they would keep everybody on the payroll, and then they went and did that. What an absolute mess, right? It's been everywhere. I'm sure you guys already heard about this. I saw it on Estee Laundry. I've seen it on all kinds of Instagram pages, on Twitter, on Facebook. And I think that, you know, as horrifying as it would be to let go of your employees or to be one of the employees who lost your job, I think that the fact that Sephora had just said that they were not going to do this is what made it so bad. But as these things go, there really is more to the story, both from the employees as well as other people who have shared their input into this situation. And please know that the point of this video is not to tell you how to think, but rather hopefully present all sides of this story so that you can just be more informed. So first off, some of the employees have said that they received a personal call from their manager after the fact saying, "We're absolutely going to hire you back on as soon as this is all over." And then in addition to that, some people have said, you know, by Sephora doing this, they have made it so that those part-time employees are now eligible for unemployment. And as you guys probably do know, we've had some changes to the unemployment system as a result of everything that's happened. And that additional $600 could actually mean that the part-time employees might take home more money by not being employed. But your girl has some additional thoughts to bring to the table here, and that is what I've been going through with unemployment. So, like so many other Americans, I too am unemployed right now. The first week of my unemployment, I applied for unemployment and I was immediately denied. Not even 24 hours later, I was denied, had to get on the phone, waste hours of my life waiting for a person to actually answer. By the time they did, 5 hours later, I was able to get everything updated in the system, but I'm still waiting. I have not been approved, nor have I been denied, and as of tomorrow, it will have been 1 entire month without an income. Please know I'm fine. My significant other works in emergency services and has been getting overtime. Terrifyingly, I'll add, but I am fine. However, I wanted to make sure I say that because I think that, I think we just don't know right now. I think we don't know if Sephora made things easier or a heck of a lot harder for their part-time employees. I guess I'm just trying to say it's a very unstable time. We've never seen anything like this in our lifetimes. But anyway, let's chat about Ulta for a minute here. So I already said that Ulta kept their stores open longer, but they did close them. However, there were some very interesting changes to the 21 Days of Beauty. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but we were supposed to have quite a few events sprinkled into the 21 Days of Beauty. For example, on Fridays, there was supposed to be a bonus event, points bonus event. We had it for the first week. We did have a 5x multiplier, but they even had the specifics planned out for this, and then they just did not offer them. Now I heard, and keep in mind that this is allegedly, but I did hear allegedly that the employees at the distribution centers and working for the online portion of Ulta were swamped. They were overworked. They, were having a hard time. Ulta was having a hard time meeting the demands of the orders being placed online, which does make sense if you consider that that was previously 10 to 20% of their sales. But all that said, the only thing that I have kind of more concrete proof of is that people are getting their orders. They just are getting them at a slight delay in some cases. I got my last order from Ulta, which was the first week. I got that in about a week. But today, it is the first Monday of the month, and if you are Ulta Platinum, you might know what that means, maybe you don't, but what it typically means is that we get a Platinum Perks Day, and this is the day where there's extra sales, there's extra gifts with purchase, and yet there's nothing. And as these things go, I did see a backlash to this. I saw people saying, I spent the $450 required to hit platinum so that I could be a part of this event. and it's not going on today. Flip side to the coin of that, I think we should probably just talk about beauty buying habits as a whole right now. So some amount of people are saying, you know, that's some real privileged talk right there, to be like, well, I want my free beauty gifts with purchases in this time. Whoa, these attitudes towards buying have been incredibly polarizing, and I want to preface this by saying, much like this whole video, I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer right now. I think that's a lot of why things are so confusing. But you know, mid-March, when people were really realizing the gravity of this situation, I saw a lot of people saying, we all need to stop buying right now. We need to stop making any purchases of any extravagant items, which would be all of your makeup, because every time you place an order for a beauty product, you are putting some person somewhere at risk, as somebody has to package your whole order. Then you're putting another person at risk, as the postal workers have to deliver your order. And there was a whole backlash to that attitude of people saying, what are you talking about? This is when people need to be spending, because those people in the distribution centers and the postal workers are fortunate enough to have their jobs. Don't you dare imply that anybody should stop ordering and make those people added to the giant pile of people who are already financially struggling. So which is it? Which is it? I mean, those are both kind of good arguments if you think about it. On the one hand here, you have an issue of safety, and I think it would be really great if all of these companies would take a moment to tell us what they're doing to protect their workers. But on the other hand, it is true that right now, at this exact moment, people whose health is fine are still feeling economic difficulties. So in closing this video, my point in a nutshell here is that this is a reactive time. This is a time like we've never seen. I think that we're all a little emotionally riled up right now, and I think it's really easy to swing in the direction of a very strong opinion without necessarily all of the information. And the bottom line for me is that right now I just don't think we have all of the information. You know, the example with Sephora, we don't know whether that was a greedy action on their behalf or whether that was an act of kindness so those employees could get more money. I just don't think we know right now. And again, I do not make my videos to tell you what to think or how to act. But, you know, rather to say, just remember to look at the big picture, to take all of the information rather than just, you know, funneled through a drama channel, funneled through an Instagram account, which may have a certain level of bias. I don't know if this was a fun video or not, but we have arrived at the end. If you liked it, you know what to do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.